It was like that. I was watching some Game of Thrones clips on YouTube the other day, and it's the part where Jaime Lannister goes and he talks to the Blackfish, and he's like, "I have food for 2 years. You have 2 years, Kingslayer." And it's like, fuck, I don't.
All right, new plan. You cut my internet, I'll be out in 3 hours.
Yeah, that would do it. You take your Xbox Live out, not much to do. Although
even your single player games don't work offline nowadays.
All I could find in my house were fucking books, and so I gave up. None of that. Yeah, I wouldn't like being under siege. That would suck. I'd rather be the besieger.
It'd be fun at first, no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the besieger is a great person to be because you get to if I'm surrounding your house and it's 5 days in, it's like, all right, give me the most delicious smelling chicken wings and I'm going to eat them within scent shot of him. And it's like, oh, I sure wish you'd come out here. We could share.
I have chicken wings.
But really,
I'm thinking of a medieval siege. I think I want to be the besieged. I want to be behind those city walls with all my creature comforts while they sit out there in the rain. I mean, not always. Some sieges went the way of the besieged. I was learning about Tyre the other day. Alexander the Great conquering Tyre. Have you ever looked into that story? So yes. Tyre is off the coast significantly. It was this island fortress, and Alexander couldn't take it because he'd have to come out with boats. It's an island. So what he did was he went to the mainland and he built a fucking land bridge. He just started putting sand and rocks in the ocean until he built a land bridge all the way to Tyre. And then he could use his catapults from the land bridge and he conquered the city. And to this day, Tyre is not an island.
Really?
Yeah. Yes.
He wanted it.
Did they replace the land bridge with a suspended bridge so you could drive through on your boat?
His land bridge is sufficient. It changed the geography.
Not if you're a boat.
Oh, well, no, you can't. Zach, show us a picture of Tyre, and it'll be more.
Not Tyreek Hill, Google.
No, he built a land bridge that is still there and part of the geography there, and it doesn't look like it was ever an island. It's just a weird little peninsula that juts off from the coast now.
Man, can you imagine how panic-inducing that would the emotional high you would have being even Alexander the Great can't conquer Tyre. What's he fucking doing over there?
So
what's he doing over there? Oh, what is he trying to build a bridge? That couldn't work. Could that work?
So that's a drawing, obviously. If you could find a modern, there you go. Perfect. That's what it looks like now.
Yeah. So it's expanded.
So that the width of it didn't used to be there?
It did. He built.
I would imagine that it was smaller and then it accumulated over time. Maybe, I don't know.
It was quite wide. His siege engines were firing from the land bridge he created, so they would have been wide. It definitely wouldn't have been that wide, but it was not some little causeway, narrow bridge like was depicted in that drawing.
It'd be funny if they shot cannonballs back at them and they're like, "He just made the bridge better."
I don't think they had even stronger.
I don't think they had black powder yet.
No,
maybe in the Far East.
Rocks and catapults. It still holds true. Bridge is just improving.
Any amount of rocks that miss you become land. That's what would have passed as very wise back then. You'd be like, advisor, what do I do? And it's like, Alexander, does not every shaft of arrow and missed stone become part of your marvelous bridge? And he's like, oh, fucking so true. And then the guy's back in his tent. He's like, safe for another day. I don't know. I'm going to keep coming up with this. This guy's getting smart. He's realizing I'm bullshitting. Dude, Alexander the Great was such a cool historical figure. Who was it that, was it Napoleon or some other master general had bemoaned the fact that or maybe it was Stalin or something, who was I'm fucking a loser. I'm 34. And when I was, when Alexander the Great was 34, he'd already conquered most of the known world.
I don't think he lived that long. I think by 28 or something, he conquered the known world. It's something wild like that. They say that. They say he conquered the known world, but all right, so he's from Macedonia, right? Isn't Rome right there next to him? He conquered it.
Macedon would have been east of Rome.
He absolutely would have been.
Yeah.
Like, but close. Like he went to India and conquered a bunch of India. Like he was willing to travel, but he didn't.
Well, also the Middle East,
next door.
Middle East, North Africa. He did a lot of that, right?
Yeah, like a huge, an enormous, like empire. I don't know who had the biggest empire of all time. I think it was Genghis Khan, but Alexander's is. You can see that's enormous.
Yeah,
cool.
That's Macedonia before he was like, I need more.
See, why didn't he didn't even conquer Greece?
No, this is that's not the extent of it, I don't believe. Yeah, that's the extent of it.
Cool.
So that's a fucking lot. Damn, but rolled into Persia and was like, mine now, bitch. All of it.
Interesting.
Took Egypt. I mean, like,
you see what I'm talking about? Look at Rome right there to his left. Just his next door neighbor, he didn't conquer. All I'm saying, look.
Well, Rome was tougher, I'm sure.
Okay, I agree with that. Good excuse. But don't say you conquered the known world when they've got a name for the people to your left and it's Rome.
I guess that's fair. Yeah. Okay. He conquered. He didn't get around to what would have been his final boss.
Person. Like
his final. I like that.
Yeah, that would have been his like big to do, getting Rome. But even then, like 300 BC, I guess Rome was pretty fucking substantial by that point. Not their peak, but still.
I think that his men poisoned him. I think that's the conspiracy theory that they were tired of fighting and continuing this many years war for ever increasing empires of land they didn't need, and they poisoned him. Or I've also read that perhaps he was buried alive. They think that maybe I don't know where they based that on, but they thought that he might have been alive and suffering from some other illness that appeared like death when he died. There's a lot of conspiracy theories about Alexander's death. He was gay. I can believe that.
He was a very powerful guy, and so there would have been a big incentive. And I don't think he had, like, that was one of the issues with Alexander, is that there wasn't a great succession plan. And so it was like given to fracturing and like different factions right after he died, all competing. And so
how'd he die?
He died at 30. He died at 32, very young. I think I haven't looked it up, but I believe the story was like he like became grievously ill rapidly, and then he died of a high fever. And back then, that could be like some cook put some herb in his food that poisoned him, and they would just think it's he must have this warlord who has 1,000 cuts, and we kind of know that like infections can happen from cuts and you can die. It must have been that. Right.
It could have been an infection. It could have been poison. It could have been an allergy. Right. Yeah. For all I know, he's allergic to peanuts, and they brought one in.
That would be horrible. It'd be like, oh, Lord Alexander, this wonderful food.
Like I was starting to say, like, everyone's compared themselves to someone great who's roughly their same age. I think Eric Lindros, the hockey player that Taylor's probably heard of, is 1 day older than me. And I'd be like, unless I'm a 5-time NHL All-Star by tomorrow, like, I'm really
I got to score a lot of goals. I mean, let's say I have like back-to-back All-Star seasons, and he gets hurt. I could take his spot.
And Woody doesn't have any Hart trophies.
I got a little bit of trivia for you, Taylor. Do you know where our numbers, our numerals that we use come from? Where they come from?
Roman numerals. That's the ones I use.
Really? It must be hard to subtract.
Yeah, that would they'd be very,
let alone multiplication.
That's why everything's incalculable, Kyle.
Is this like a trick question? Like, because like Arabic numerology, we use Arabic numbers, right?
That's the conspiracy theory. Yeah.
Oh well, fill me in, man.
Now they're Indian numerals. The numbers were invented by India, and an Arab
bullshit.
And an Arab took those numbers, and then he invented algebra and a number of other more complex.
What was India doing? Just looking at them?
I don't know what they were doing with them. They hadn't figured out algebra yet, though. The Arabs figured that out with the Indian numerals. But we call them Arabic numerals. So I always thought they were invented by the Arabs, but not so.
I don't know. That sounds like Indian guy propaganda to me.
Really?
Yeah. It was actually me.
I don't think Indians... Here's the thing. I don't think the Indians know they invented numbers. Nobody ever tells them. That'd pump them up. They would be shitting in the streets so much if they knew they had that to fall back on.
We were investing centuries in numbers and then realized our true calling was dirty rivers.
I just think of that episode of South Park where the Japanese are like stabbing the whale and dolphin with hate in their hearts or whatever. But it's them stabbing just the environment. It's just Indians just stabbing Mother Earth in the ass,
slapping the water
tires for no reason.
Fuck you.
It's like they hate it. And
I don't like that.
Are they the people who
like
believe
in?
Do they believe in reincarnation? Is that Hindu?
That is Hinduism.
You would think that a group of people who believe they're going to come back and perhaps have to live as an insect would want the environment to be clean as fuck. They'd be thinking about all the pollen they're going to be eating in their next life and stuff. No,
that's true.
No,
I bet they all think they're going to come back as a cow,
as a fly. By the way they treat the world, they just shit everywhere.
But I'm saying, like, in their head, like I bet a lot of them are thinking they're covering all their bases by being so neat to cows. And so they're like, oh, when I come back as a cow, everyone's going to be nice to me and they're not going to hit me in their weird 3-wheeled cabs. Like,
well, I know the cow is like holy to them or sacred to them. But then you've also got a large amount of the population that just eats them. Like there's plenty of Muslims there too that eat the cows.
In India? No, I don't think there's many Muslims.
No, there are.
Oh, I thought they like largely schismed and all the Muslims are in Pakistan and all
the Muslims have a lot of conflict with the other Indians.
The cows have to be a central part of that.
I don't know.
Imagine if one person's like favorite food source is the other person's like sacred thing, you know? Like it'd be like if Jews ate dogs. We would not be cool with Seinfeld. Hey Kramer, he's like cooking up a fucking Yorkie. Like you wouldn't be watching that show. You can't get on board with that.